I think it's probably best if I start with the ending. The wife, Deborah, will be found huddled in the corner of the upstairs bathroom, a gash in her neck having sprayed the shower curtain with a thick shock of red. The stepdaughter, Alice, will be found sprawled across the stairs, her quick feet just not quick enough to escape the stab wounds now gaping at the darkened ceiling. The ex-wife, Lauren, will go missing, her apartment found in a state of disarray, generous smears of her blood pooling on the kitchen floor. And back at home, Gregory, sweet, sweet Gregory, will be found in bed, an extension cord wrapped tightly around his gradually purpling throat. And just like that, everything will be over. This has always been about Gregory. The others are unimportant, just the supporting cast, if you will. But I suppose they merit some kind of introduction, just for clarity's sake. There's Lauren, Gregory's ex-wife, a marriage filled with bitterness and unfulfilled expectations. She lives in an apartment across town now. There's Deborah, his current wife, a clean freak and picture-perfect housewife, almost sickeningly flawless. There's Alice, Deborah's daughter from a previous marriage. She's 16 years old, which pretty much sums up everything you need to know about her. And then there's Gregory, right at the center of it all. Wonderful, wonderful Gregory. Everything and more. I guess I started watching him a few months before he divorced his first wife, Lauren. They'd been married for only a year and a half and had been relatively unhappy the entire time. Something to do with their sex life, I'm not really sure. She was gone and living across town before long, and Gregory was on his own, living alone in that lovely house that I've grown to know so well. I probably would have approached him had it not been for Deborah. Deborah, right out of the blue, living in his house with her daughter, no less. And things were perfect. I'd never seen him happier. They were wonderful together and seemed to grow closer and closer every day. It was unfair. It was cruel. Just when I had found the man for me, some bitch waltzes in with her smutty daughter and steals him away from me. It was upsetting, to say the least. Something had to be done. I needed to tear them apart from the inside, to cut the stitches, loosen the binds, drive a stake into their tightly woven lives. Gregory was too good for them. He deserved so much more. He deserved the best. He deserved me. And I would have been there for him when the pieces went flying, when everything around him crumbled to the ground. I would have been there to rebuild the ruins, tighten the ropes, and stitch his life back together again. And of course, I would stitch myself right in with him. So I got started. Small steps at first. I left anonymous notes on the front porch. Simple things, really. Had a lot of fun last night, Gregory. Can't wait to see you again, Gregory. I can still feel you inside me, Gregory. Things like that. I made sure Deborah would be the one to find them. All I had to do was convince her that Gregory was sleeping around. Fill the house with doubts. Loosen the stitches. And I wanted to cover all the bases, leave no stone unturned, you know? So I went further. I'd call the house whenever he was out and hang up as soon as Deborah said hello. I broke into his car and stuffed a loose bra under the front seat. I snuck into his closet and smeared lipstick kisses on the collar of a work shirt. I even took naked pictures of myself and hid them in his suit pockets, knowing fully well that Deborah would find them. He would have a hard time explaining that one. But it didn't work the way I'd planned. Things weren't happening quickly enough. There was a new tension in the house, sure. Deborah was a wreck. Alice was lost and getting scared, and Gregory, poor Gregory, was caught in a whirlwind of confusion and anger. But that was it. The stitches were loose, but not loose enough. I needed to take bigger steps. I broke in while they were gone, put all the pots on the kitchen floor, turned on all the faucets. I drew red lipstick hearts on their windows and left trails of rose petals along the floor. I peed on their bed. I made my presence known. I hoped Deborah would just write these things off as the crazed actions of Gregory's love-starved mistress, or at least something to that effect. I hoped it would give her no room to doubt that her husband was cheating. I hoped she would pack her bags and leave. I hoped I would get my chance with him. But that's not what happened. They decided to move, just like that. No warning. Within one day, the house was on the market and boxes were already being packed. Instead of driving them apart, I'd inadvertently driven them closer together. They weren't mad or angry or any of the things I'd expected them to be. They were stronger. They weren't leaving each other. They were just leaving the house, leaving the problem, leaving me. But I wasn't gonna give up. No fucking way. It might not have been the most ideal of circumstances, not exactly what I had envisioned, but I could make something out of it. I would make something out of it. I would fix this. So now, the way I see it, if I can't be a part of his life, I may as well be part of his death. I know the media will call me a monster, spin everything into some kind of horrific tragedy, and they'll say only someone completely removed from Gregory would be able to do such a thing to him. But in that moment, we'll be almost impossibly close. There'll be no words, just us. It will be beautiful. It will be everything. It will be the greatest thing we ever share. And I'm sure people will question my motives. They'll see it as counterintuitive for me to kill Gregory in order to get close to him. But it really makes a world of sense to me. I will be a part of the most meaningful moment of his life. I'll see him clearer than anyone else has ever seen him before. And call me crazy, but how do you get closer to a person than that? And besides, it's not just about being with him. No, with Gregory it's different. With Gregory I want something more. I want to be the biggest influence on his life. The most important person he's ever known. The one to change his life more than anybody else, you know? The one to take everything that's his. The one to take his life. That's what I want with Gregory. That's all I want. And this time, I'm not worried about him taking that away from me. I'm not worried about him or Deborah or anyone stealing what is rightfully mine. This time I know there will be no disappointment. No. This time,